Hello everyone and welcome back. I am Mark Thompson with Watermark Data and these are the Alteryx tutorials. Today we're going to have a short one. It's number 35 and it's just a short series of 1, 2, 3, 4 different cleaning exercises to clean up your data. And each one of them is labeled right up there. This should be short. I'll get to it. Here we've got some numbers. You can see down here in the field, and the instruction is remove the leading zeros. Couldn't be any easier. You grab the select tool, that's from the preparation menu up here. You grab the select, you stick it in here. You list this as integer 16. You run it, and since it's turning it from a text, this is a text input field, it turns it into an integer. Integers don't have zeros up front, so you can see they all turn into 1234. Nice, simple, easy. Next. This is a 4-digit numeric code. We've got a text input, and we've got this data here. And the instruction is trim the leading zeros and or the descriptive text at the end. So we want to get rid of the zeros at the front as well as get rid of that report piece at the back. Now I've got 2 different ways to do this in here. This was short, so I figured I'll throw 2 different ones in. One, we can actually split this out text to columns. So if we do that, we come over here and we tell it we're looking at field 1 and we're going to use a delimiter of a colon, and we're going to split it into 2 columns. And when we do that, we run this real quick and I can show you the result. So now this turns into the original column and then it's 2 columns after that. So we don't want these zeros and we don't want this stuff that's over here in the second column. So we come in here, we tell it we don't need the first, we don't need number 2, we want number 1, and we want to turn it into an integer. I chose 64. It could be integer 16 or 32. I just happen to pick 64. And then when we come out on the other side, you see that we've got the digits and we're good. The other way is we can get this data cleansing tool over here, and you get that from the preparation menu, data cleansing. And we get rid of it and replace the blanks. We replace the zeros, leading and trailing white space, tabs, blanks, all white space, all letters, all punctuation. When we do that, what we now have is that takes care of this, and we're back to the exact same situation where we want to turn these text into numbers. So we come over here, we tell it, in this case I said integer 32. When it comes out the other side, we no longer have those leading zeros because now it's a number. Easy peasy. Next. A little more to this one, but not terribly. If more than 8 characters, remove anything after 8, and if only 6, then add SC to the front of it. So we have this data, and so we've got a C and a bunch of numbers, SCC and a bunch of numbers, SCC, some numbers, a semicolon, fire warning. This time we're going to do something a little different. I'm using the formula tool. Again, preparation, formula. And I'm going to use what's known as a substring. And I'm going to create a column, right? I called it trim. When you come here, add a column, I called it trim. And what I'm doing is a substring, so I'm telling it what I'm looking for, which is this field is called safety code. I'm going to start at the 0 position and I'm going to go 8. That's going to remove anything that's more than 8. So that takes care of the first piece of it, right? So now we're limited down to this. Then I put in a second formula in here, and it's an if-then statement. And I said if trim, because that square bracket and this formula is using parens. If trim is equals 8 characters, which is what our criteria is up there, then just use the field trim. Else, Put it in quotes. It can be single or double. Great feature of Alteryx. You can use either single or double quotes. SC plus trim. End if. Don't forget the end if. When I was first learning, I'd forget it a lot, and it would come back and tell me there was a problem with the formula. Remember your end if. Out on the other side, this is what we've got. Now, if, for example, the only thing we want to see is that, real quick in here, we come and we grab a select tool and we say, you know what? I don't care about these other fields. I just want to see that final product, and there you go. Final one here today. If the data value ends with ID, remove the ID. Here's our data. We've got we've got a couple of different ones with an ID at the end of it. For this, I'm going to actually use the regex tool. Come in here, and I'm telling it regular expression. I'm looking at the column ID. This $ indicates that I'm looking at the end of the line. So you put the ID $ that says, hey, you're looking at the end of it. And I'm going to do a replace. What am I going to replace it with? Nothing. Out the other side, here we go. And it left those ones with ID somewhere else intact. All right, that wraps it up for today. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, please hit share. Please hit like. Tell your friends about it far and wide. If you've got any comments, I'm always open to hearing what you have to say. Until next time, this is Mark Thompson with Watermark Data.